Okay, so welcome back. Two more nightmares based on the characters in my book. So you kind of way already know what views they're going to argue for. So this is where you basically have to say, okay, that's what you think how things will turn out. How could it go wrong, and what would you say? So, so we've got to look at. There were two team enhancement in the book has two characters. So Olin is a character who thinks it's all about getting exponentially improving digital technologies into our brains and bodies. And Eugenie's kind of like she's that liberal eugenics person. She wants us to stay biological. So she's someone who I don't know has sort of a view in which basically let's stay biological, but let's endorse enhancement. So let's think about sort of how her future could turn out. So I've got a bit of the story that I tell, and the story about the nightmares, how things could go wrong. Remember, we need many such stories. So in the book, I've got a description of the nightmares. You could add your own details on what could go wrong. In a way, I'm just one mind. The more minds we have on this, the more imaginations we have on it, the better we'll be at picking it. So Eugenie is someone who, and the story I tell, so it could happen, is a story in which society rejects Olin's path. And they reject it because of the hacking problem. So people sort of, in the story I'm imagining, people actually sort of do say yes to Olin's future. Oh, these chips, I want this chip in my head. Thanks Elon Musk, I've got a chip and now I can do all these cool things I couldn't do. That is so cool. And I imagine what happens when these chips get hacked. And I imagine a future in which, the chips get hacked. And that actually causes revulsion because, someone's chip gets hacked and it causes them to basically detonate a bomb on a plane. I mean, they're being controlled because their chip is being hacked. Now, is this something that I know will happen? Definitely not. Is it something, do I know how to do this? I mean, Elon Musk tells us that the stuff he wants to put in people's heads will be super secure. That's what he says. But Apple iPhones are also super secure. Pretty secure. They're difficult to hack, but they do get hacked. So in a way, if you're asking, will something be hacked? Yeah. How much money do you want to throw at hacking an iPhone? Well, if you throw enough, you can hack an iPhone. That's one thing that we've learned. So in this scenario, people remain with the biological approach. And you can imagine how this will happen is that basically once you do that, how could that go wrong? If we basically use gene editing, we stay biological, but we actually find ourselves, let me just sort of, in a way, you can use your imaginations to think about what that would be like. Because gene editing is the technology you might use there. That's getting cheaper, but it's not free. It's not in a way like a digital technology. The digital technology is, once I've made the first copy, everything else is really cheap. So it is a situation in which things could get really expensive, and there could be these barriers between people that are just very difficult to bridge. So in a way, the thing about that nightmare, you can always deepen it and add to it. Let me tell you about another nightmare of one of my characters called Winston. And it's kind of like, I don't know, if you're a depressive type, as Winston is, is Winston good company? Well, maybe not. But we need depressive types like him, because if we don't anticipate, we need people to sort of, in a way, whose minds are naturally inclined to exploring those possibilities. So what would his nightmare be? What does he not anticipate? Well, if he's so negative, the nightmare that I present for him is one in which everything goes well. So he's the kind of person who will say, look, it's going to be meaningless. you know, once you radically enhance, you'll lose contact. I don't know, you had a child and now you've become super intelligent. Your child is basically not super intelligent, and, well, what are they to you? Suddenly, you don't even bother to talk to them. I mean, suddenly you look back at your former life and you think, oh gosh, that's rubbish. You look at the rest of humanity from an enhanced perspective and you think, what? I have contempt for them. But there's another possibility, and that's sort of philosophers who sell this thing say, well, we love our pets. And we, you know, what prevents us from saying, yes, I may have someone, you know, you may have an IQ that's 1,000,000 times mine, but that doesn't mean that we can't connect. We can have good conversations and good relationships with people. And I guess people often sort of say, oh, well, look, if everything gets easy, things will kind of become meaningless. But no. I mean, another possibility is that when we become super intelligent, things become super meaningful and just in different ways. And some of the things, you know, maybe if you like listening to music, you like listening to Mozart was human. Now maybe post-human musicians can make music that's so much more sophisticated, but they might still really enjoy connecting with Mozart. So that's kind of, you know, the possibility, which is to say, well, hang on, Winston, all the things you're talking about are claims about the future. You might get the future wrong too. So that's kind of, you know, Winston's nightmare is actually when things go well. So next film, Jacquin will tell you a story and then he'll associate it with a nightmare. So yeah, think in terms of your own characters, what their visions of the future are and what nightmares you would present them with.